News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's sample a little bit of President Donald J. Trump's speech last night.
I will tell you exactly what happened, and you'll never hear it from me a second time because it's actually too painful to tell. I said to myself, wow, what was that? It can only be a bullet. And moved my right hand to my ear, brought it down. My hand was covered with blood, just absolutely blood all over the place. I immediately knew it was very serious, that we were under attack. I'm not supposed to be here tonight. Not supposed to be here.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Yeah. Thank you. But I'm not. And I'll tell you, I stand before you in this arena only by the grace of Almighty God. Tragically, the shooter claimed the life of one of our fellow Americans, Corey. Comparator, he lost his life selflessly acting as a human shield to protect them from flying bullets. He went right over the top of them and was hit. What a fine man he was. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States, think of it, the 10 worst, added them up, they will not have done the damage that Biden has done. I'm only going to use the term once. Biden. I'm not going to use the name anymore, just one time. The damage that he's done to this country is unthinkable.
There you have it. An amazing, amazing night, an amazing convention. By the way, for those wondering, yes, I'm aware that my church, unfortunately, is on fire right now on the other side of downtown from us. The smoke is flying all throughout the downtown environment. Thankfully, my pastor and the head of First Baptist Dallas, Robert Jeffress, says that there's no injuries. That's the most important thing. Next is putting out that fire. It looks terrible, though. We're on it. We're following it on the news, just so you know, okay? But the big story of the day is Donald J. Trump's speech. And he did it, didn't he? He actually put his name and his imprimatur, his stamp, all over the entire Republican National Convention. This is the first time ever since 2016 that whole top to bottom, from the beginning to the end, the entire RNC 2024 was Trump. Everything was Trump. The music, the grandeur of Hulk Hogan ripping the shirt off, the grandeur of Kid Rock. I was thinking about that today. And that incredible song, Fight, Fight, Trump, Trump. It was awesome. And he rocked it. And it was fun. And then Trump came out and gave this speech about what it was like to almost die. And we're going to be talking about the assassination attempt a little later. So many more things coming out today, like late today, like an hour ago from the Wall Street Journal, that are breathtakingly unbelievable, horrifying how bad the security was. But he lived. There was a total, according to the Wall Street Journal's latest article, like I said, an hour ago, they broke some serious exclusive news an hour ago, which I'll share with you later, but 6 shots were fired to kill Donald J. Trump. 6 shots of .556 rounds fired from an AR-15. I will tell you that we found out that he flew a drone. That was what the exclusive was from the Journal. I'll give you more details later, but he flew a drone a couple hours before the whole thing went on. He was casing every aspect of it. This was meant for Trump to die. This was Trump's day to die. And you'll hear the left criticizing him for saying that he was spared by God and stuff like that. But I want to ask you, first of all, he did it, didn't he? I mean, I saw Peggy Noonan, barely a conservative, definitely not a liberal, for the first time ever writing a complete editorial, which I'll share with you later, just saying this was the most incredible ever. It was the most successful ever. The left is panning it, but you know what else? I have an incredible editorial that I wrote. I put this at the top of my pile today. I'm holding it up. You can watch me right now on Facebook Live at Chris Kroc Show, ChrisKrok. Former Bill Clinton pollster and current pollster, Democrat pollster, who says, I will never vote for Trump. I don't support him. I never will. But he says Trump did something he's never done before with the RNC speech. Now the election may already be over. It's that devastatingly good, is what he said last night, including the speech. So here's my questions for you tonight. Do you think President Trump struck the right tone last night? And did he have a wider appeal? Do you think he can win this race after last night? Do you actually think he can win it now? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think Trump struck the right tone last night? Did he have a wider appeal, and do you think he can actually win this race after last night and after this week at the RNC? 800-288-WBAP, lines wide open, chime in right now, 800-288-9227. Jump on right now, I'm ready to put you on. I didn't realize how... I thought the speech was good, but I thought 90 minutes was way too long. I saw some commentary on that in the immediate aftermath, and I agreed. I thought, dude, and then you find out that his words were, the speech that he wrote, the words were a third of what he actually said. He had ad-libbed 2/3 of the entire 90-minute speech. But that gets him into trouble, though, doesn't it? He mentioned cheating in the election. That is not a winning look. That's a bad look. But he brought people together. He said some amazing things. Let me share this piece, because this is absolutely a great little piece from Trump. Actually, I will get to that in just a second. We got some good stuff. But he had some really positive and issues-oriented things, and he talked about bringing people together. Let's look at Doug Schoen, what he said about this pollster. He's a Fox News contributor and a Democrat, and he said this was a grand slam. He didn't say those words, but he said basically it was a grand slam. He says that the Thursday night, the performance last night has largely been unmatched in recent political history. Again, this guy does not like Trump. He's not voting for him. He never will. He's a Democrat. But he's a pollster and a Fox News contributor. Trump eschewed the polarization and division. He talked about inflation, immigration. It was compelling and arguably responsive. He says you have to acknowledge the reality that Trump spoke of the American dream. He spoke of bringing people together, helping African Americans, Hispanics, and those who have been left behind. I'm going to play that actually cut coming up next at 8:15 on the Chris Kroc Show. He said Trump did something he's virtually never done before. He spoke to all the American people. He said Trump did something he has virtually never done before. He spoke to all the American people. He said optimism and confidence rung through this whole thing. Now compare that, this is me saying this, compare that to Biden's doom and gloom. Doom and gloom. He's a threat to democracy. It's an insurrection. Anybody doing an insurrection or a threat to democracy right now is the people trying to throw the duly elected nominee of the Democrat Party, Joe Biden, and thwart the 99% of the people that voted for him in the Democrat primary. I'll continue on with what Schoen said. And the Wall Street Journal editorial board also praising it mostly. A few criticisms I'll share with you. But here's what's brilliant. I want you to think about this, and I hope this makes you feel really good inside, tingle a little bit, and I'm serious. That assassin shot 6 bullets. He flew a drone to map it out perfectly. He had a rangefinder. He was out there scoping it out 6 days in advance, I think it was, and he was there 4 days in advance. He signed up to go at the event 4 days in advance. And that assassin's 6 bullets meant for Trump that were so close to killing him within millimeters did the exact opposite. That assassin made Trump the next president of the United States of America, very likely, quite possibly. Did you hear what Jeff Zuckerberg, the guy who's a leftist, who supposedly despises Trump, said about Trump in this? Did you guys catch that one yet? Yeah, I'll play that for you. It's unbelievable. All right, we will go right to your call coming up next. We got Vero in Fort Worth out of the box. We have 3 lines open. Chime in right now, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think President Trump struck the right tone last night? Did he have a wider appeal, and do you think he can actually win this race after last night? As I mentioned, I will play. He spoke to the issues and African Americans and Hispanics specifically about the illegals taking their jobs. All that next.
Today, our cities are flooded with illegal aliens. Americans are being squeezed out of the labor force and their jobs are taken. And by the way, you know who's taking the jobs that are created? 107% of those jobs are taken by illegal aliens. And you know who's being hurt the most by millions of people pouring into our country? The black population and the Hispanic population, because they're taking the jobs from our black population, our Hispanic population, and they're also taking them from unions. The unions are suffering because of it.
Blacks for Trump!
Thank you. Thank you. I like you too.
That was one of the, apparently one of the black folks in the crowd saying blacks for Trump. There's a wonderful, beautiful African-American woman who called in for the first time ever on my show last night before the speech. And she said, I want to hear President Trump. She goes, I'm a Democrat. I voted always Democrat, but now I'm open. I want to hear him talk to me and black folks about the illegal invasion. She didn't say invasion, but she basically agrees with us on that. And she said, taking our jobs. And it was amazing when she was kind enough to call back at the end of it after we carried it. And she said he did hit the button on that for her. He did it. He accomplished it. And I don't remember if she said, do you remember last night, Producer Garrett, too, if she said that she will vote for him now? I want to say I think she did, but I don't want to put words into her mouth. But it was very positive. Yeah, she was on the fence prior, but she was leaning more towards it. I don't know if she confirmed 100%, but she was very highly, she spoke highly of Trump's speech, and he hit the bill on that, which is beautiful. Isn't that amazing? She placed her order for that, and he did it, and she received her order, and she's a satisfied customer. Amen. Two lines open, 800-288, hold on. Orders up, satisfied. Yay! Okay, 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Do you think President Trump struck the right tone last night? Did he have a wider appeal? Do you think he can win this race after last night? 800-288-WBAP is our number, 800-288-9227. Let's first go to Vero in Fort Worth. Vero, WBAP.
Hello, Chris.
Hello, how are you?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm doing fine. Thank you for taking my phone call.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to tell you, first and foremost, I am an immigrant. I am a legal immigrant. I am a citizen by choice, Texan by the grace of God.
Amen.
And yes, Trump did set the stage. Trump did win. A lot of people that used to talk bad on the Hispanic community, I can hear them now. Hispanic community, we have, our goals set in our faith, first and foremost.
Yeah.
And second, obviously, our country and our family. If this country goes down, me as an immigrant, I can tell you, Chris, there is no other place to go. Okay?
Yeah, where do you go?
Me,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And for me, the biggest thing is to bring the jobs back and to protect our country, because I make the line. If I make the line, why can they? My father used to work in the fields. I am a product of 1986 armistice under Ronald Reagan, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So for me, if we can go to other countries and, fix their problems, why can't we fix ours? It's because we have a domestic enemy, and we all know who that is. At this point, I want to say, Hispanic people that are hearing me, we need to vote Trump. And it's not because, of what the Univision wants to tell you, or Telemundo, or any of those brainwashing, media, just like CNN or Fox.
Right.
They eviscerate and every time.
Yes.
I heard the other day somebody in the Hispanic channel saying that Trump staged all this so that we could feel sorry for him. What kind of human being, would have so much evil in their heart to tell their audience that somebody staged an assassination on themselves? What kind of heart, what kind of moral stand does, Univision or any of those
it's disgusting.
brainwashing Hispanic medias would have?
Right.
That's evil.
You remind me, what country are you from originally?
I am from Mexico City. I was born and raised there. I chose to be an American since
Excellent.
I was 14 years old.
You're
God
reminding
gave
me.
A blessing.
Amen. You're reminding me of one of my dearest friends who is from Peru, he and his wife, and they came here legally. And he is always sharing. He's a mechanic, uno mecánico, and he's in Irving, and he's always working hard. But he's also always talking to Hispanic people that come into his shop all the time, and he's telling them what's wrong with you? Why would you vote for Biden? Why would you vote for the Dems? And he's saying the same thing you are. The more of our friends that keep doing that, the more the message spreads. Thank you for your great call. I'm grateful you're in this country, Vero. Thank you. Let's next go to Donald. And Donald Abilene, you're on WBAP. Hi, Donald.
Hey, Chris.
Hey.
Just was wanting to let you know, Saturday when the attempted assassination took place, I was with my youngest daughter, and we had run to the store to go grab some things for my upcoming trip to New Orleans. And my wife texted me and said that Trump had been shot. So I looked over at my daughter, and she was on TikTok, and she goes, "Oh my God, Trump just got shot." And literally, like, the hair stuck up on the back of my neck, and I was like, I knew it, you know. I had a really bad...
I didn't think that was going to happen. People were saying that, and it did.
Yeah.
I thought, too, the other thing is I thought maybe he's going to die, because that triumphant stance and the fight, and the fist doesn't mean he's going to live. There could be a wound underneath that vest that we don't see.
Well, and the thing is, you know, after the last election, I got real disenfranchised with the whole system because, you know, after that happened, there was so much evidence that it was a rigged election.
We got to roll. We got to roll. I mean that, too. But as of right now, we got to roll. But I want to, you got 10 seconds. And by the way, do you agree that we need to not talk about the cheating stuff, at least the president and stuff, because that's not a winning issue for the average people, that we need their votes to win?
Well, yeah, and I think at this point, like my son, you know, he told me the other day, I'm not going to vote because it doesn't matter, and that's where I was going with that. But
that's where they want you. Mm-hmm.
And that's what I told him. I said, you've got to let that go.
Yep.
And you've got to go out and vote.
Amen. I got to roll, brother.
Sunday morning.
Yep.
He called me and he said, "Dad, I'm going to vote."
Good. There we go. Appreciate your call. 3 lines open: 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Coming up next, the legendary, at least in the Democrat circles, Nate Silver, pollster, who's referred to as like the Holy Grail by many. What does he think about the speech? More audio from the president talking about laying your life down, Corey Comparatore, and what he did. And you hear the leftists on the media criticize him for doing that. It's crazy. All that next, plus your call. Do you think Trump struck the right tone last night? Did he have a wider appeal? Do you think he can win this race after last night? 800-288-WBAP.
There is no greater love than to lay down one's life for others. This is the spirit that forged America in her darkest hours, and this is the love that will lead America back to the summit of human achievement and greatness. This is what we need. Despite such a heinous attack, we unite this evening more determined than ever. I am more determined than ever, and so are you. So is everybody in this room. Thank you. Thank you very much.
This came in over an hour and a half long. This was a Fidel Castro kind of experience.
It's after midnight on the East Coast. People are asleep. They are tired. It was a long, rambling speech.
I was raised Catholic. I'm a Christian girl. This assassination attempt. And you say something like God was watching me. That is a very unchristian thing to say because it's very narcissistic.
It was a remarkably long acceptance speech, Jake, and a remarkably dishonest acceptance speech.
He's a narcissist.
These are the DSM-5 criteria for narcissistic personality disorder.
It's too bad the bandage was just over his ear. It should have been over his mouth.
Mr. Comparator.
Well, exactly. Comparator, yeah.
Comparator. I was sickened by them using him as a prop, his firefighter jacket.
These people are so mad because Trump is so winning with this speech last night. By the way, I mean, I could smell my church burning right now from here. If you go in the hallways here, you can smell it. It's a bad fire, and it's going on right now. And everybody and their brother is tweeting it, and it's our whole historic church sanctuary is on fire. There's, as you heard in the news moments ago, you can see the smoke from Irving. It's terrible. I mean, the entire downtown skyline, you can see smoke everywhere coming in. So there it is, and just pray for us. But there's good news. Nobody's been hurt. That's one heck of a fire, though. Looks like the whole sanctuary might be a loss. Nobody is hurt, though. Nobody is hurt. And again, fire's still raging right now. Ouch. It's bad. All right. Okay, Nate Silver, the pollster. We have two lines open, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think President Trump struck the right tone last night? And I don't know if I mentioned my church's First Baptist Dallas, in case you were like, which one? It's downtown. Do you think President Trump struck the right tone last night? Did he have a wider appeal? Do you think he can win this race after last night? And you heard the media try to rip it to shreds. I think it's desperation because he did so well. They have nothing to do but to just be nasty and angry. That's just it. Yeah, my church is totally ablaze. It's just unbelievable. Everybody's tweeting about it. It's just a horrible. I mean, this is bad. Sorry, but the new video coming is just, it's serious. Nate Silver, the pollster who is considered like the holy grail from a lot of people in the political world, and especially Democrats, he wrote at first, "It's weird, but pretty good speech. The past few weeks have gone about as badly as possible for Democrats, and they're likely underdogs against Trump, regardless of who they will nominate. But the opportunity to reset the campaign with a non-Biden nominee is a twist of good fortune." It's not going to happen, by the way. We're going to get to that coming up in a little bit, too. Then a little bit later, he says, semi-retract this tweet. The speech is boring as F, but there are worse things, politically speaking, than being boring. And then finally, he said, fully retract and rescind. Sometimes it seems like both parties are trying to throw this election. I very much disagree with him. I mentioned to you Douglas Schoen, the Democrat pollster who says he would never, ever vote for Trump, and he's a Democrat. But he said this speech has been unmatched in political history, recent American political history. It has skewed polarization and division, talked about inflation, immigration, compelling, arguably responsive, tasteful and empathetic, had me on the edge of my chair. Entire speech and its production made Trump much more likable and more sympathetic than he's ever been before. He rose to the occasion and offered American people something profound that has been missing under the current administration: hope, strength, and a sense that the best was yet to come for our nation. I fully expect Trump to increase his standing in the polls, says this Democrat pollster, as a result of this week, not only because of his Thursday night address, but also because of the entire convention. It was among the best, if not the best, choreographed and produced shows I've seen in 50 years of watching American political conventions. And I'll play the Van Jones quote. We played it last night, but many people are going to hear it anew today. Van Jones saying that this is like Obama in 2008 when he got swept into office. The fever and the feeling at the convention this week. Okay, now your call. Two lines open: 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think President Trump struck the right tone last night? Did he have a wider appeal? And do you think he can win this race after last night? Let's go to Raul in Seagoville. Raul, welcome to WBAP.
Hey, Chris, I appreciate you taking my call.
Thank you.
Real quickly, I just want to touch on, his tone was right. I think he did all the right things. However, and I know you had just mentioned that removing Biden from the race was not going to happen. And that's something that I think that Republicans in general should object to. They should all come out supporting Biden to be in the race, just as the Democrats are coming out. And we need to fight this tooth and nail, because I don't want to see Trump versus anybody else but supposedly the person that beat him in 2020,
right,
which I have my doubt.
So I want Biden too. I want him so bad, and I don't want anybody else to go anywhere. And that's so funny. We want this guy. We're rooting for Biden more than Democrats are.
Well, it's like a Super Bowl, and you get a rematch, and everything's going. You get to the very last game, and then all of a sudden, well, you know what? They're not playing so good. We're going to replace them with another better team.
Worse yet. This is worse because people cast their ballots for him. 99% of the Democrat Party cast their ballots for him in 50 different states.
Right, and that's what Trump should go out and hit that and say, look, you people who voted for him to run against me, even though I don't agree with your viewpoints, I will stand up for you too. You should have your voices heard.
Right.
You voted for this guy in the primary. Have him be in and don't allow this to happen. Protest, do what y'all Democrats do best, and that's become violent if you have to. But I mean,
don't say that. Here's what I will say to you. My family's all from Chicago. All right, and they all live many of them live in this city. No, it's okay. I mean, I'm proud of it. It's a hellhole now, but it's still a beautiful city and stuff. I was just there downtown, watched the Stones concert at Soldier Field and stuff. But it's gonna be really bad. My dad was there in '68 as a cop when the DNC was going down. It was all hell. He was there in the King riots and all. You're gonna see hell there. You're gonna see hell. You're gonna see 30,000 terrorist supporters showing up in buses from Minneapolis, all over the country, New York, and they're gonna raise almighty hell against the Democrat Party. And Brandon Johnson, their socialist mayor, he literally is a socialist, is going to be on their side.
And I hope that happens because as a Cuban immigrant who came the legal way at the age of 1, been here 54 years, you know what? I tell my kids all the time, I cry when the national anthem plays. Y'all ignore it.
I agree with you.
This resonates with me so deep that I'm like, everything the Democrat Party does is like, I might as well just go back to Cuba. I might as well, because this is what this seems like.
Well, I appreciate your call, Raul, and I'm grateful for your call. I'm glad you're here, my friend. We're going to pop in one more. We're going to pop in Dave in Burleson. Dave, you are on WBAP. What do you got?
Hey, Chris, I used to live in, I worked in Glenview and I lived in Des Plaines.
Yeah, it's north suburban and near northwest side, yeah.
Yeah, I loved it up there, too. I thought the city was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, by the way, I think the speech was okay. It wasn't Trump's, though, the way Trump it has been in the past. I know he almost got killed Saturday, and I know he had a long week, but, you know, I mowed the backyard, cooked some steak dinners, did a low boil. 2 hours later, I took a shower, and he's still talking.
Yeah,
I don't recall being in that long. I understand what he's trying to do. He needs to do that, but just a little bit more energy.
Let me tell you this, though. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, I hope Biden stays in. I think either way, we're going to trump the Democrats. But what I'm dying for is to see J.D. Vance debate Kamala Harris.
The cackler?
Just slam her, because he can articulate so well.
Yes.
He is going to just shut her. She is not going to have a chance with him.
No, the cackler is going to get her cackling rump handed to her. It's going to be great. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fantastic. I appreciate your call, Dave. Yep. By the way, I want to tell you one thing real fast about the speech. There's really good news. For those who were bored, the truth of the matter is the people can, it's a quote I think I have from, I think it's from Peggy Noonan, one of them, but it's from one of the folks out there. Here's the deal. The people that are average, that don't get hyper political but wanted to see what happened, they tune out at a certain point, and they don't see the rest of it, and that's actually good. You know why? They didn't see him go off script a little bit or too much, and bore. They don't. That's what people that are attacking it don't understand about the length. The people that are the ones we want are going to tune out 40 minutes into it, 35 minutes into it, and we've won. Because the first 30 minutes of that speech were beyond a grand slam. They were surreal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so we won last night. We won. We really, really won. And it took me some real convincing to think that we didn't, because he went a little too overboard. But here's who was attacking him. The people attacking him are the leftist media and the political class. That's not who's voting in Trump or Biden. that we're talking about the people in the suburbs. We're talking about the people whose votes are up for grabs, a sliver, a small portion, maybe 6 to 15% if we're lucky, of the population. And they didn't sit there for 90 minutes. They watched what they wanted, and they left feeling good about what he said. And that's we won last night. I got to roll, but we won. All right, Gregory in Southlake, you're next. We have 4 lines open for the first time tonight. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Do you think President Trump struck the right tone last night? Did he have a wider appeal? And do you think he can win this race after last night? I'm going to give you some more highlights and some more attacks from the media and the left coming up next on the Chris Crock Show. And I'm going to give you the rest of this Peggy Noonan's column, some highlights, and the Washington Examiner, and a little bit more on Doug Schoen's take on these. These are some powerful columns, just little highlights that I pulled from that you got to hear about, and I'll add to that next on the Chris Crock Show. 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP, and now on FM at 93.3.
You've been told to lower your expectations and to accept less for your families. I am here tonight with the opposite message. Your expectations are not big enough. They're not big enough. It is time to start expecting and demanding the best leadership in the world, leadership that is bold, dynamic, relentless, and fearless. We can do that. We are Americans. Ambition is our heritage. Greatness is our birthright. But as long as our energies are spent fighting each other, our destiny will remain out of reach. And that's not acceptable. We must instead take that energy and use it to realize our country's true potential and write our own thrilling chapter of the American story. We can do it together. We will unite. We are going to come together, and success will bring us together.
Absolutely beautiful. Uniting people. It wasn't perfect, but it was certainly wonderful. And when you have a Democrat pollster who was Clinton's pollster, Doug Schoen, saying it was like incredibly good and the best convention he's ever seen in 50 years of watching them. Basically, he said it was a grand slam without saying grand slam, the entire event in Trump's speech. I fully expect the division, he says, inside the Democrat Party will only increase as a result of the success of the Republican convention. As a Democrat, many challenges facing have only grown larger and more substantial after this week, after a speech and a convention that could only be called an unqualified success. He says, here's exactly what I was quoting earlier without knowing which one it was. Some say Trump's speech went on too long Thursday night, and that may be true, but the American people, unlike commentators, see this? Simply turn off the television. They don't give the candidates demerits for being long-winded. He's a Doug Schoen, 40-year experience as a pollster and political consultant. He was an advisor to Bill Clinton and Michael Bloomberg in his campaign. He's the founder and partner of Schoen, blah, blah, blah. He's a Fox News contributor. All right, let's go to your reaction on the speech. Do you think President Trump struck the right tone last night? Did he have a wider appeal? Do you think he can win this race after last night? Another update on my church, by the way, First Baptist Dallas, a massive fire. The whole the historic sanctuary looks just terribly aflame. Unfortunately, Matt Howerton from WFA reports that the deacons told us they fear the church's historic library beneath the historic sanctuary has been lost, held the majority of the church's record, they say. That's a terrible loss for us. It really is. Okay, let's go to your call at 800-288-WBAP on the Trump speech. Gregory in Southlake, you're on WBAP. Hi.
Hi, Chris. I'm sorry about your church, and I'm praying for all concerned.
Thank you.
The one thing I think a lot of people are missing about that speech is two things. First, the entire 90 minutes was not a speech. It was a conversation with the American people. It was a conversation. And you could tell that from the tone. It would be like if you were sitting down with Donald Trump. It was a long conversation, and he was the one doing the talking, but it was so compelling you wanted to listen. The other thing is he spent the proper amount of time describing the event and paying tribute to Corey Comparatore.
Yeah.
He did that man honor. And
these idiots on the leftist media said they criticized him for kissing Comparatore's helmet and for bringing it out there. The Buffalo Fire Department gave that to him to use.
I know. Please let me finish.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying I was angry.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No. But just let me know. I agree with you. That's just so unfair.
All right, finish.
I think he made a very compelling case for the persuadable undecided, for the dissatisfied Democrats who are tired of the inflation and the gas prices and the immigration problem as well. I mean, I'm MAGA to the core. The guy, this will be the third time I'm voting for the guy for president. I'm originally from New York. I knew him as a character up there. I saw him once in person, never met him in person, but I think he's going to win this, provided that the Democrats don't cheat as badly as they did last time.
I got to roll, Gregory, but I appreciate your call, my friend. I think that you got to win by a margin where they can't cheat. It's that simple. So we got to win. And by the way, if we think we've won this already, you're going to lose. So we're going to get into that a little later. We're going to do a little bit more on the speech, how you thought of it, and did he have wider appeal? Can he win this race after last night? But also coming up next, more and more Democrats calling on Joe Biden to exit the White House. I've got so much on this. Wait till you hear that and the latest. Plus your call, Terry and Waco. You're coming up next right out of the box. Plus your call, 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227 on News Talk 820 WBAP. Now on FM 93.3.